Section 23 of Handbook of Nature Study. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Engel. Handbook of Nature Study by Anna Botsford Comstock. Part 2, Animal Life. Chapter 1, Bird Study. The Flicker, or Yellowhammer. Teacher's Story. The first time I ever saw a flicker, I said, "What a wonderful meadowlark, and what is it doing on that anthill?" But another glance revealed to me a red spot on the back of the bird's neck, and as soon as I was sure that it was not a bloody gash, I knew that it marked no meadowlark. The top of the flicker's head and its back are slaty gray, which is much enlivened by a bright red band across the nape of the neck. The tail is black above and yellow tipped with black below. The wings are black, but have a beautiful luminous yellow beneath, which is very noticeable during flight. There is a locket adorning the breast, which is a thin black crescent, much narrower than that of the meadowlark. Below the locket, the breast is yellowish-white, thickly marked with circular black spots. The throat and sides of the head are pinkish-brown, and the male has a black mustache, extending backward from the beak with a very fashionable droop. Naturally enough, the female, although she resembles her spouse, lacks his mustache. The beak is long, strong, somewhat curved, and dark-colored. This bird is distinctly larger than the robin. The white patch on the rump shows little or none when the bird is at rest, for this white mark is a color call, it being a rear signal by means of which the flock of migrating birds are able to keep together in the night. The yellowhammer's flight is wave-like and jerky and quite different from that of the meadowlark. Nor does it stay so constantly in the meadows, but often frequents woods and orchards. The flicker has many names, such as golden-winged woodpecker, yellowhammer, high-hole, yarrup, wake-up, clape, and many others. It earned the name of high-hole because of its habit of excavating its nest high up in trees, usually between 10 and 25 feet from the ground. It especially loves an old apple tree as a site for a nest, and most of our large old orchards can boast a pair of these handsome birds during the nesting season of May and June. The flicker is not above renting any house he finds vacant, excavated by some other bird last year. He earned his name of yarrup, or wake-up, from his spring song, which is a rollicking, jolly wicka-wicka-wicka-wick, the song commonly heard the last of March or early April. The chief food of the flicker is ants, although it also eats beetles, flies, and wild fruit, but does little or no damage to planted crops. So long has it fed upon ants that its tongue has become modified, like that of an ant-eater. It is covered with a sticky substance, and when it is thrust into an ant-hill, all of the little citizens, disturbed in their communal labors, at once bravely attack the intruder and become glued fast to it, and are thus withdrawn and transferred to the capacious stomach of the bird. It has been known to eat 3,000 ants at a single meal. Those who have observed the flicker during the courting season declare him to be the most silly and vain of all bird wooers. Mr. Basket says, "When he wishes to charm his sweetheart, he mounts a small twig near her, and lifts his wings, spreads his tail, and begins to nod right and left as he exhibits his mustache to the charmer. He sets his jet locket first on one side of the twig and then on the other. He may even go so far as to turn his head half around to show her the pretty spot on his back hair. In doing all this, he performs the most ludicrous antics, and has the silliest expression of face and voice, as if in losing his heart, as someone phrases it, he had lost his head also." The nest is quite deep, and the white eggs are from 4 to 10 in number. The feeding of the young flickers is a painful process to watch. The parent takes the food into its own stomach and partially digests it. Then, thrusting its own bill down the throat of the young one, it pumps the soft food into it, ker-chug, ker-chug, until it seems as if the young one must be shaken to its foundations. The young flickers, as soon as they leave the nest, climb around freely on the home tree in a delightful, playful manner. Lesson 17. The flicker. Leading thought. The flicker is a true woodpecker, but has changed its habits and spends much of its time in meadows, hunting for ants and other insects. It makes its nest in trees, like its relatives. It can be distinguished from the meadowlark by the white patch above the tail, which shows during flight. Methods. This is one of the most important birds of the meadow, and the work may be done in September, when there are plenty of young flickers, which have not learned to be wary. The observations may be made in the field. A few questions given at a time. Observations. 1. Where do you find the flicker in summer and early autumn? How can you tell it from the meadowlark, in color and in flight? 2. What is it doing in the meadows? How does it manage to trap ants? 3. What is the size of the flicker as compared to the robin? What is its general color as compared to the meadowlark? 4. Describe the colors of the flicker as follows: top and sides of the head, back of the neck, lower back, tail, wings, throat, and breast. The color and shape of the beak. Is there a difference in markings between the males and females? 5. Does a patch of white above the tail show except when the bird is flying? Of what use is this to the bird? 6. What is the flicker's note? At what time of spring do you hear it first? 7. Where does the flicker build its nest, and how? What is the color of the eggs? How many are there? 8. How does it feed its young? How do the young flickers act? 9. How many names do you know for the flicker? The high-hole appears to drum more promiscuously than does the downy. He utters his long, loud spring call, wick, 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 and then begins to rap with his beak upon his perch before the last note has reached your ear. I have seen him drum, sitting upon the ridge of the barn. The log-cock, or pileated woodpecker, the largest and wildest of our northern species, I have never heard drum. His blows should wake the echoes. When the woodpecker is searching for food, or laying siege to some hidden grub, the sound of his hammering is dead or muffled, and is heard but a few yards. It is only upon dry, seasoned timber, free of its bark, that he beats his reveille to spring and woos his mate. John Burroughs, in Birds, Bees, and Sharp Eyes. End of section 23. Recording by Jill Engel.